Hey, it's Eric G. Around the House is sponsored by Baldwin Hardware. For 75 years, Baldwin Hardware has been known for its first-class quality and craftsmanship in door and cabinetry hardware. As an alumnus of the Baldwin Hardware Design Council, I can say I have seen the details and quality from design to the finished product. If you're looking for a new style and old-world craftsmanship, I can tell you there is only one Baldwin Hardware. Check out what would look great in your home at baldwinhardware.com.
It's Around the House.
We have legislation issues out there in certain states because my personal belief is that every house should have a working ventilation hood that goes outside the building.
Yes.
And I don't understand that even in my state where if I do a remodel and I pull a building permit, guess what? That has to be a hood that vents outside.
Yep.
I can still go into a home center.
Yep, and buy a recirculating.
And I'm like, a recirculating hood is about as smart as a recirculating toilet. You're not getting anywhere.
I mean, for the most part, yeah. I think we'd argue that if you got to have one, maybe you live in an apartment, then that's your best option. Make sure you're changing that filter, make sure you're treating that right, but then find another way to ventilate the house.
When it comes to remodeling and renovating your home, there is a lot to know, but we've got you covered. This is Around the House.
Welcome to the Around the House show. This is where we talk about everything about your home every single week. Thanks for joining us today. I am still down here in Las Vegas at the Design and Construction Week. This is a combination of the International Builder Show, Kitchen and Bath Industry Show, and even this year, the National Hardware Show. So this is the one place in the world you got to be if you're doing anything around your home. And I'm in one of my favorite booths with one of my absolutely favorite people. I'm sitting here in the Broan-Nutone booth where we are going to talk about ventilation today and so much more stuff. Dave, welcome back to Around the House, my friend.
Thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here.
This is great. Man, you guys, again, are changing the rules of ventilation again.
We are changing the rules of ventilation. Innovations are our game this year. I think it's incredible what we've been able to come up with and just the advances and changes. I mean, we're all talking about it, right? Yeah. It's been in the news for years now. And I mean, just the other day, we had another big news splash, and you can be on any side of the fence on that you want to, but holy cow.
Let's unpack
everywhere.
that one.
All right,
let's unpack it. We're just going to dive in.
I love it.
We're just going in knee deep here. The gas range ban, and I'm using air quotes that nobody can see right now, is one of those things that really got me fired up because I'm like, okay, and you probably feel the same way, but I look at it and go, we have a ventilation issue.
Yes.
This is not just a gas range issue.
Correct.
There could be gas ranges that are leaking. There could be anything else.
Yep.
But that is such a small part of the ventilation problem compared to everything else that's coming up in your area.
Yeah, well, 100%. Yeah, I mean, anything you cook on your gas range, on your electric range, you could have a wood burning range. It really doesn't matter. Yeah. There's something going into the air off of your range. We were talking earlier, you're frying your country fried steak or whatever it is, right? That's emitting oil and smoke and all sorts of other things in the air that you can't see and you're breathing right in. Without that range hood, getting that out, you're going to run into a lot of problems. So we don't care. Use whatever range you like, wherever you're at, keep it, use it, right? We love it.
Think about this. When you walk into grandmother's house and you have that cookie smell.
Oh, yeah.
We all love that. It's awesome, but that's really not healthy. It's kind of like new car smell, right? You go, this is great. These VOCs smell so amazing, and the VOCs coming off the leather, I love it. Yep. These aren't really supposed to be good smells for us.
In fact, you should be able to walk into your house and smell absolutely nothing. I don't know if your listeners know who Christoph Irwin is. He's based in Atlanta, and he's got the brilliant guy, and he and I were talking about it, and he said, good smells, bad smells, it doesn't matter. A smell is a sign that there's something in your air that shouldn't be there. So yes, baking cookies, please, I want it, but know that that's not good. You've got little kids, they're breathing these fumes, this is not good. We should get rid of that. Take them outside and smell them.
Yeah,
maybe.
There we go.
I don't know.
That's better.
Okay, sure.
I mean, if they're in front of you, you're smelling them. It's fine, right? Because I'm getting ready to consume it.
Absolutely.
But that's the thing, and it's such a misconception out there.
Yeah.
And I mean, we have legislation issues out there in certain states because my personal belief is that every house should have a working ventilation hood that goes outside the building.
Yes.
And I don't understand that even in my state where if I do a remodel and I pull a building permit, guess what? That has to be a hood that vents outside. I can still go into a home center.
And buy a recirculating.
They will go, hey, don't worry about that duct. I'm going to give you a recirculating one. And I'm like, a recirculating hood is about as smart as a recirculating toilet. You're not getting anywhere.
I mean, for the most part, yeah. I think we'd argue that if you got to have one, maybe you live in an apartment, and that's your best option. Make sure you're changing that filter. Make sure you're treating that right. But then find another way to ventilate the house. Yeah. If you don't have that hood, which you should, it's the right way to do it. A hood that ventilates out. I get it. Sometimes you can't do it. Make sure you have something else. Run your bath fan, right? We don't think about that. Small apartment, like usually a small apartment's not going to have a vented range hood. It's going to have a recirculating, but run your bath fan. That's going to be ventilated out. Code requires that everywhere.
Absolutely.
There's no such thing basically as a recirculating bath fan, right?
No.
So run it. Crack a window if you can. Not the best scenario. You're bringing in whatever's outside, but it's probably better than whatever's coming off your range. Man, probably better.
Absolutely. And bath fans are a great example of that because I use them for ventilation in my house because that's one of my next steps is, and I just created my own fresh air intake problem at my house because I've got a really cool HVAC system, Carry Infinity. Awesome.
Yep.
I had my dog door, which was my makeup air, except a little tease for you guys watching the show. My first segment I'm doing on the DIY is I put in the automatic dog door.
Nice.
Which is really cool for the dogs, except I just closed up my makeup air.
You sure did.
So,
ouch.
That's my next issue.
All right, makeup air. Air. I'd love to talk about that one. Where do you? And I'm surprising you with this question. Where are you putting it? Where are you putting the makeup air when it comes in? Where are you dumping it?
Right now, I haven't done that yet, so I'm not sure.
Where are you gonna dump it?
Good question.
Okay.
I have my HVAC system, which is a gas furnace electric AC.
Okay.
That is in the garage, but it's really close to the exterior, so I could come in, hook into that system there.
Okay.
There's some room to do that.
Okay.
That would be one.
All right.
And there's other places in the house I can hide it.
Yeah, we've had a lot of conversations around that. It seems to be another one of those topics that no one wants to talk about because it's scary. Where do you put unconditioned air? Which is what you're doing. Where do you dump that in? We're trying to work on that too because that's
a challenge.
That's a big challenge. So I'm always interested to hear about what people are doing with it.
And then my house is even more so because I have a 1200 CFM max hood in there because I have a 48-inch range.
Yeah.
So, that's 1,200 basketballs going out the building.
That's a lot of air.
Where's it coming from, right?
Yeah. 100%.
Luckily, I don't have any other gas burning. I don't have like a gas, a gas water heater or something that I'm pulling in.
Okay. Okay.
I'm not dragging carbon monoxide back in, but I'm still pulling dirty air from the crawl space and attic space or something like that.
What are you doing for fresh air? Do you run an ERV in your house or an HRV?
Not yet.
Oh, I heard a yet in there.
Yeah, it's going to be happening.
Right,
so it's going to be happening. I know. We'll talk about that later.
All right, good.
But let's talk about ERVs for a minute because my biggest problem that I had with them, and one, I hadn't really designed it out yet. It's always one of the things that, that's the next step.
Yep.
But my biggest problem that I didn't like about them is I'm in wildfire country.
Yeah.
And in August, September, there could be a week or two
Sure.
where we're the worst air quality in the world.
Sure.
And I didn't want to have something that I was going to have to manage on my own and go, did I turn that off today?
Yeah. No, I totally get it.
And then me turning it back on again is going to be the worst part because I'm going to forget about it.
Right. Or if you're not home to do it. With your wife, you're relying on somebody else at the house to handle it.
Yeah.
So we're taking a look at that in a really big way, a really unique way. And in fact, maybe I can announce this now.
Sure.
We won today at iBiz. We won the best indoor product of the entire show for our Overture system, which manages this problem. So let's jump into that. All right. Okay. So Overture is a system of, it's an automated indoor air quality system. And it's a bunch of switches and sensors that go around your house. All the switches have sensors in them. You have sensors you can put in all over your house. You can hardwire them. You can plug them in. So we can measure air. And we all know about that now. We've all seen molecules and awares and air things, and we've all heard them. They're probably here, and they make cool products that tell you what's going on. Yeah. And then they tell you, okay, great, go open your window. But you just told me your problem was there's a forest fire outside.
Yeah.
I'm not opening my window. Right?
Of course not.
So what's your solution for that? So what we've done is we've designed the system to work with our fresh air systems to say, wait, there's bad indoor air quality outside. We look at the EPA's AQI score, the air quality index, and if it says this is no bueno, you should not be breathing this, the system will say, nope, we're going to go into recirc mode, going to shut down the fresh air supply. We're okay for a little while here. There's enough air in the home. We're not going to suffocate overnight. Yep. Like, we got some time. The system will run, and it'll still exhaust things as it needs to, and then it'll bring that fresh air in when the air quality is better.
Yeah, because I'll pull up on my phone, and I'm like, oh, that's bright red. That's not a good day today. You know what I mean? And that's where I was like, I'm just not that consistent to trust myself to go, okay, I'm going to have to manually manage this.
Well, and we're not smart enough. Let's be real. Like, I am, because I work at a company that does indoor air quality. The average consumer, the average homeowner out there doesn't know. My wife doesn't know when to turn on the bath fan half the time.
Right.
Or the range hood, always. Let me be clear. Always. Every time
Always.
you're in there, turn it on, leave it run for 20 minutes when you're done cooking or in the shower, whatever it is. But anyway, we don't want to think about it. I don't want to think about it. It's just another thing in my day to worry about. Automate it. Overture automates it. Just handles everything for you, turns on the bath fan, turns on the range hood, turns on your fresh air, and then is smart enough to know when not to turn it on.
See, that's what I've been waiting for, because I have the boxes of Overture sitting at my desk at home.
Yeah.
I just got to have that fresh air system to be able to hook that up and make sense.
Yeah.
And then that will also work with bath fans and stuff too.
Absolutely. Yep, it'll trigger your bath fan. So if you're in the shower, kids, right? I know you've got some kids that are older and probably out of high school, and you probably spend a lot of time in the shower in high school and never turn the bath fan on. And some people like that, right? I know you've got a steam shower.
Yeah.
That's great. Like, what a good feeling to just kind of have that warmth envelop you, and you just feel really good. But where does that moisture go?
Right. And well, two things with that. So last year at this show, on the way home, we stayed a couple days late in Orlando. What do we bring home? Julie and I bring home COVID from that.
Yeah, of course.
Of course, because we're down with 75 of our closest friends in a trade show.
Right.
So those things happened back then.
Yep.
Now we don't have to worry as much about that. But as we did that, we got home, that steam shower, I was taking like 2 steams and 3 steams a day.
Yeah.
Just doing that. And it was awesome. And then we added a system in my shower that's really cool. It's an air drying system.
Oh, cool. Oh,
so
I
it's
remember you talking
automatic.
about that.
Yeah. So I jump out of the shower, I hit the timer for 20, 40, 60, like 120 or whatever on it.
Yeah.
And it has 12 air jets that dry it out. But where does that moisture go?
Still got somewhere else in the house.
Now it's in the rest of the house.
Yep. So ventilate it, right? And it doesn't have to be in the bathroom in that scenario. If it's pushing it out, I mean, you could have it in a room adjacent or next door or whatever it is, right? Just make sure you're ventilating, and you know that, right?
Yeah.
But not everybody thinks about it, right? We love that feeling. The fog near means like, oh, it was warm and it was nice, but man, that's causing black mold to grow in your walls. You can't even see it. People don't know it. It's almost scary. I almost want to tell people to knock a hole and look. It's scary. And then that's not just a health issue. That's a structural issue, right? Black mold will eat that wood right up, eat your drywall up, and like you've got some serious problems.
So what I did on my showers, I designed it so I have a transom over that moves, that pivots,
smart.
and then my vent fan location is about 12 inches from that.
Perfect. Yeah, you were solid.
I just wanted to have a freeway getting right out of there.
Yes. Al, actually, you know what? You should put Overture in, and you should put a humidity sensing fan in.
Yes.
Because it will automatically sense right there at its location specifically. Because it's the room sensor might be in an outlet or hardwired somewhere nearby, but not right there. Might be another option for you.
Yeah, because if that fan's working, if that steam up there and that humidity, right?
Yep.
If I have it over in the wall where it comes in,
right,
that I have to bring a lot of humidity in for that at that location to go, hey, there, it's going to go.
Right.
Boom.
We call it spot ventilation, right? A range hood, a bath fan, a spot ventilation. And we got another story on that one. I've got a daughter that's 1.5 years old. So we have diapers, a diaper pail, right? Which is awful and terrible and smelly. So spot ventilation isn't just for bathrooms. It's not just for your kitchen. You can put it in any room. So I'm going to put in, we have this product called the 744, which is a great name. No, it's not. For a product that
Secret
is
Agent.
Secret Agent. Oh, I like it. Maybe that's the product name. Secret Agent. I like it. Thanks. Check
Secret
in the mail.
Agent 744.
I love it. It's a recessed light. So it looks like a recessed light. So you can put it in any room in a home where you may not normally have ventilation. You wouldn't want the traditional bath fan look. I get it.
It's
totally
not
get
sexy,
it.
right?
Yeah, it's not sexy at all, right? Unless you've got one of those old chrome ones that you were talking about in your 1970s. I love it.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, that recessed light is a really cool option for rooms like a nursery or even a bedroom. We lock ourselves in. We might close the door. We don't want the kids running in and out.
The kids' bedroom, the teenagers' bedroom. Oh my gosh,
I'm not ready.
I know you're not ready, but for all you teenagers out there, parents, this could go in and you walk in, you're like, oh my gosh, it smells like an old gym in here. We got to fix this. Well, you might not fix that problem, but at least you can ventilate it. You
can ventilate it. Yeah, you can get rid of all of those odors, that grossness. Yeah, absolutely. We had some colleague on our team that has 2 sons that play hockey. I don't know if you know anything about hockey pads and hockey gear. Yes. But that is the most rank smell.
Oh, it is a sponge.
Horrible.
Yeah.
So they've done the same thing and put in their mudroom. They actually put our Surface Shield product, which is a bath fan that has light in it, an LED light that kills mold, mildew, viruses, bacteria, yeast, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's not UV. So it's not going to harm anything.
You're not yellowing stuff.
Stuff. You're not eroding your caulk in your shower or whatever it is or in the bathroom. So they put that in their mudroom to kill off a lot of those odors and to ventilate. So we're thinking about spot ventilation more than just the bathroom, which is traditionally where we see it. We're thinking about other rooms and ways to hide it, ways to look at it. Yeah.
I got to show you a picture here, and you guys will have to share it up later on social media. But Julie and I go walking. We go out walking the dog, right? We're out cruising around, and when we're out doing that, we see neighbors' houses and stuff.
Of course.
And I'm going to show you this picture, brand new house, and these are the glass garage doors. And it's a dry day.
That's a little bit of steam on those.
Yeah, there is water running down the inside of all of those glass doors.
I'm pretty sure that's not supposed to happen.
No.
Yeah.
No. Brand new house. You can see it's brand new.
Yikes.
But it's not raining outside.
Yikes.
It's
It's dry.
It's dry. So
That's scary.
garage for us in the Pacific Northwest, when you have a brand new home, that is a house that they tore down this last year, built a brand new one. It's a multi-million-dollar house right there.
And you've got to...
and they don't even have a car in it yet from the rain.
Oh, no.
And that's an empty garage.
I bet you it's... I wonder if it's a conditioned space or it's at least got to be finished.
It's finished.
All right.
It's finished.
All right,
but
so it's holding in...
But it can't be conditioned because
true.
it'd be in a garage, right?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, if you take the car in there, I didn't see any other... I mean, it could be conditioned if you had your own system in there, like you had a mini split or something. They of course
unlikely.
didn't do that.
Yeah.
It's a spec home.
Yep.
So that's the problem, is ventilation in the garage to me in my area is a huge thing, because you pull in with the wet car, you've got this super tight garage, insulated garage door.
It's a lot of moisture.
And guess what? It has to go someplace, and it's going to go mold and all of your boxes and everything else you've got stored.
Oh, totally. Well, and if your house isn't, hopefully it is, but if it's not, doesn't have a fresh air system, it's not pressurized, you open that garage door and all that moisture and all that mold and whatever it is floating in the air is floating right into your kitchen or whatever it is it's attached to your garage there.
Because Mother Nature's always trying to balance things out.
Sure is.
So if you've got that dry air and the moisture air,
it's going to move. Yeah.
It's going to come right in.
We're totally with you on the garage ventilation. We make, we used to just call them attic ventilators, but now they're attic and garage. So if you don't have a finished space or you're able to put one in, we've got solar powered, so you can sort of do your passive home if that's what you're looking for, whatever it is. So we have a way to mechanically ventilate. And then we've got like in-wall or through-wall fans that really help to ventilate that.
See?
We've got a guy on our team, his uncle lives in a town not near or not too far from where we're headquartered, and it gets cold. It was -7 Fahrenheit when I left on Tuesday to come here.
Dude.
So it feels warm here even though it's in the 30s.
Yeah.
But anyway, he had the same issue. He had a finished space, brought the car in. It was full of snow from a heavy snow day. That was all starting to melt. And as it melted, it was running out of the garage as it should. It froze his garage door to the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course
so I saw
it did.
that dripping and I was like, I wonder if that's the same problem. So he was like, my friend my colleague is our product manager for that line, and he was like, I have a solution.
Yeah.
He was like, why aren't we doing this in garages? So we tested all of our stuff. We went out east and did the salt test and whatever it is, and did the whole thing. And now we have fans that can work in that space to ventilate. And let's be real, it's not just moisture. Most people store their garbage and recycling and gas and oil and paint and all these things that are horrible fumes that come into your house.
Oh, Caroline and I, when we did our first video thing, when she was on this show, of course, she looked in the background and goes, why do you have all those things in your garage? And that was its own show, talking about the bad things in Eric's garage.
Yeah.
Now they're outside in my carport on a shelf, but it was one of those things that it was like,
we don't think about it, right? Because that's where Dad stored it. That's where Grandpa stored it. That's just where else
I don't want
you
it
put
to freeze. I'm going to keep it in there so it's a little warmer.
Totally.
And it's
right.
like, oh wow, I am just hyperloading the space with VOCs.
We need to think about it because, like I said, it comes right in. You open that door, it comes right in, right? So we got to think about that. So yes, ventilating a garage, I think, is a really cool idea. And then, like I said, get that ERV, get that fresh air system in. You can do it a less expensive way, a value way, if you will, by putting a supply fan in, right? So you just need to mechanically draw air in,
no question,
to kind of pressurize your house just a little bit. You want like 1 or 2 CFMs, right? You want a little more air going out than would be coming in if there's anywhere that it can come out or in, right? If you don't have a fully sealed passive home, boy, someday I hope.
I've got 1977 house that's meant to breathe.
Right.
It's like, all right, well, I think the aluminum foil on that old craft insulation has probably got the most insulation out of everything. But it's literally, I got. What's my weather-resistant barrier? 30-pound felt that's nailed up.
That sounds about right.
It's what it is.
Yeah.
But those are those things that people don't think about.
No.
And you don't want to pull out next year's Christmas stuff or holiday stuff, and all of a sudden you're like, wow, this white thing that goes around the bottom of the tree sure's got a lot of black spots on it.
Yep.
And even if it doesn't, it's going to smell like it does, or it's still there anyway, right? You can't see a lot of these contaminants.
No, you totally can't. Oh, man, you bring up a good point. Basements.
Oh, yes.
All right.
Let's talk about that.
Dehumidifiers, right? And making sure you've got fresh air in your basement. I have a house that was built in the 80s, and it has finished out basement, which is great. That's where my office is. I mean, I call it my dungeon.
Yeah.
It's not a man cave. It's a dungeon because that's where I do work.
Exactly.
So, it's a dungeon. Anyway,
it's a dungeon.
That's another spot where moisture control is hard, right?
Yeah.
If you don't have the right drainage outside, I can't help you there, but like if you don't have the right drainage, you could have mold growing in your basement, you could have water leaking in. I've got the mineral crystals growing on one of my walls.
Yep.
Previous owners put in a nice patio and did not pitch it far enough, so I've got some water coming down, and so I've got a dehumidifier. Well, we've got dehumidifiers as well that do whole home. And I think your point about sort of those yellowing and black spots and mold and mildew growing on Christmas decorations, I literally had that issue and I had to put in a dehumidifier myself for my house because I was having problems with moisture.
I can't tell you how many times I was working for a while there, helping out an advertiser years ago on the show, and they had a basement, foundation company.
Okay.
So they did basement waterproofing and stuff like that. I can't tell you how many places I went into. Maybe it was a lawyer's office and they had the basement of the 1920s house, and that's where all the file boxes were. And I'd get the phone call because they'd be pulling the files out, and the wall looked like it was a black mat mesh,
Oh, no.
And they had all the files that were all now had been contaminated. They had all this testing and stuff, and then they had to figure out why is the water coming in.
Right.
But it was the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
That was a humidity issue because it was even across the entire wall, front to back. Right?
Yeah. So dehumidifier is huge. You have crawl spaces and things like that, right? It doesn't matter where you live. If you've got something that's under the ground level, there's potential moisture issue there. The ground is wet all the time, right? Unless you live in the desert, and even then, there's still moisture down there.
Yeah,
so.
I think it was Nikki Kruger that told me if you got grass growing outside, then you probably have a humidity issue that you're not aware of.
Oh yeah, absolutely, 100%. She's pretty smart. You can tell her I said that.
Okay.
I think she's pretty smart.
I'll make sure she listens.
That's
so,
good.
Yeah.
No, I think it's totally right. We have to pay attention to that. So we've now made that part of our whole home ventilation plan, right? We've got that product lineup of dehumidifiers and whole home ones, big giant units. We even some that go in wall. Thinking about multifamily and things like that. Maybe you have a condo and you're able to do that. It just goes right into your 2x4 construction, and you've got humidification. We, my colleague Travis, I can talk today, manages all that stuff, and he and I were talking, and he said, "Hey, do you know what shoulder season is?" I said, "I don't know what you're talking about." And he said, "It's spring and fall." He said, "Where it's maybe too cold to run the air conditioner, but too humid, and so you need it to run." Right? Or it's too hot to run the furnace, but you need it to run because you need to mitigate the moisture. I was like, that's a really good idea. And you and I have probably somewhat similar weather. We might get a little colder than you, but there's a lot of humidity. The temperatures are perfect, but a lot of humidity in those seasons. That whole home dehumidifier will fix that problem. And I think it brings up a point too that I learned this last year, your air conditioner is not a dehumidifier.
No.
It is not its job.
No.
But we think it is because that's what we use it for.
And I learned this actually this last year in some of the seminars I was teaching because I had other experts on there as well, is that, like in Florida and some of these other really hot places, that AC unit might only last you, their planned lifespan could be a decade. Where many other places it's 20 years, right?
Yeah.
Right, unless you're changing out for something more efficient. Sure. We won't get into that, but that's kind of that planned lifespan. You can double the life of that by controlling humidity because you're taking that load off because it's trying to shed all that moisture.
Yep.
And you've got now a less efficient system as it's trying to shed that moisture.
Yeah, actually, and then you can right size your system. You don't need a big system. Well, oftentimes we're putting in or we're asking our builders or our contractors, well, I need a system that's 3 times bigger because I want to manage my moisture. Well, if you had just put in a dehumidifier, you'd have managed your moisture, right? And you could have downsized that system, and they're not cheap, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's a really good point. And I think an ERV helps solve some of that too.
Seriously.
Right? Because there can be some moisture removal there, or it'll save moisture in the winter when you need to keep it in your house. When you've got that humidifier, going on your system, like you've got a carrier. I'm sure you've got a carrier humidifier built onto that.
I do too. I don't.
Do you have too much moisture all year?
I usually too much moisture.
All right.
Rarely. We'll get that winter cold storm that comes in, so I'll have it for a couple days, and that's it.
Not
enough. What do? I just turn on the steam shower.
Yeah, right.
Seriously.
And just turn off the bath fan while you're running.
I turn the bath fan off. I turn the power off to the bath fan.
I like it.
But here's the one thing I realized. This was my mistake.
Yeah.
Because out in the hallway out there, I've got a really nice smoke detector. Smoke detector, I'm sitting there and I turn the steam on. I run over here to get something real quick, and all of a sudden the smoke detector is going off. Oh, it was full on blare like I asked for. I'm like, what just happened? I go up there and I'm like, that steam's going right into it.
No.
I was like, oh, come on.
Oh, no.
I did that to myself. It was just, I'm like, all right,
bonehead.
hey, that does steam too. Good to know.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, that's cool. Wow. Yeah. No, I think that moisture mitigation in your home, that humidity is just, it's a huge deal. I mean, it's a comfort thing too. We don't think about that until we're there, and we often think it's the temperature that's making us feel better. It really is moisture in the air that's making it feel good. You can have a 74-degree home with the right humidity, 40%, 50%, and you'll feel great. And you could have it at 68 and 80% humidity, and it's going to feel gross.
How many times, to our audience out there, do you walk in the house and go, man, it feels hot in here, and you look at the thermostat, even a digital one, and go, it's 70.
Right.
Wow. Or you walk in and go, man, it's got a chill in here, and it's 70.
Yep.
And that's the exact reason.
That's moisture. That's it in my house, my leaky house in Wisconsin, where in the winter I keep it at high 60s, and in the summer I keep it in the low 70s, and they feel drastically different. It feels colder oftentimes in the winter, even though it's not. I might even turn it up, and it still feels colder because my air is dry or too warm or whatever it is, too moist.
So you really got to, as a homeowner out there, I just beg you to watch the humidity. Do you know what it is?
Yeah.
And the easy way, here's my easy button on that. Just jump on Amazon and pick up one of those weather stations where you have the inside and the outside one that have humidity.
Yeah.
Because you can go down and put that sensor in that corner of the garage or that corner of the basement or wherever else, and then you can look at it and go, wow, that's high.
Yeah.
I got a problem.
And see specifically in one area. Overture is a good spot for that too. Just thinking about that as you're saying that, you can put an overture sensor in every corner of your house, every room of your house. All you did was just put the sensors in, at least know what's going on in your home.
Right.
Like understand what's happening, understand
I'm gonna go
where
plug
moisture
mine in now.
is. You should. Where's the moisture? Where's it too high? Where's VOCs? You said you have dog, right?
Yeah.
I have dog too. Pet dander. We don't see it oftentimes, right? Unless you see that sunlight shining through a window, and you see the floaties. That's also a sign that you have bad indoor air quality. But if you see those floaties, that could be pet dander floating around, right? The sensors will pick that up and say, hey, not only do you have a moisture problem, but you've got stuff floating in your air. You've got new carpet that's emitting VOCs, right? So
exactly.
Know what's going on in your home.
I did go too far on trying to clean my air, and I had to actually unplug a unit. Not something you guys have done, so I'll just say that out there. And I won't use the brand, but it's one of those space-age air cleaners where they come through and they kind of create the ozone.
Oh, no.
Which, it's not ozone, but it's that,
I got
it's
you. I got you.
not the ozone, but it's they create that hydrogen peroxide particle stuff. Julie was trying to bake bread, and the yeast wouldn't rise in the house.
Oh, interesting.
She's like, I keep throwing yeast away. What's going on? And all of a sudden, the second time that happened, I went, let's go out and do it in the outdoor kitchen and see what happens. It's 70 degrees outside, 70 inside. Worked out there perfectly.
Interesting.
So now I just unplugged it because I'm like, okay, that's scary to me.
Yeah.
And there might be science behind it. I don't know. But in my thing, I'm like, I don't like that.
Yeah.
If I can't cook.
Yeah. That's an issue. I think then ventilation is like key. I know people are concerned with what's in their air. We had this whole scare on the pandemic, and now we're talking about kitchen range ventilation and making sure that's out. Right, ventilate. I don't think we think about it enough. 8% of people use their range hoods.
Right.
Like, that's crazy low
Isn't
number,
it?
right? And that's the stuff that's floating around in our air. There's all kinds of craziness, and it's going to affect your cooking. If you've got all kinds of junk in your air, your food might taste different. You're going to smell it differently, right? You're going to taste it differently.
Who likes walking in the house 2 hours later after you had salmon or something, or you had some fish and catfish tonight or whatever, and you're like, man, it still smells like fish, and I took the trash out already.
I know.
That means you've got that ventilation.
That means you've got bad ventilation. It's a huge deal. I think we really need, as a country and as homeowners, to focus on it and think about it, because it matters. There's a lot of science out there around how it affects health, how it affects our wellness. Even if you don't want to dig into the scientific research or whatever it is, just the way you feel, right? We feel good when we open the windows, right? Like that's a breath of fresh air, right?
Sometimes.
Unfortunately, it's not always the case, right? We talked about forest fires, pollen. It could be too humid. It could be too cold, too hot. mechanical ventilation, putting in a system that can actually do it for you will make you feel good. I don't care about the science. So if you're not worried about your health and you have perfect health and you don't have asthma, whatever it is, that's fine. But your wellness, your well-being, the way you feel every day.
And your house is cleaner too.
And
Think about your dusting.
Oh my goodness.
Right?
Gone.
You're dusting and you're like, oh my gosh, this house is always dusty. Guess what? That's coming out of the air that you're breathing.
That's exactly right. Like I said, those floaties when the sunbeam comes through.
That's the stuff that's the floaties land.
Yeah.
And so that's
100%.
one of those things. And so like in my house, I was, again, when we started doing this, I wanted to have better indoor air quality. Yeah. So I got rid of all the carpets. I have hardwoods or vinyl. It's just like luxury vinyl plank. You know, first floor, all real hardwoods. And I have a little robotic vacuum that's one of the LG ones that I go on. And I send it out once a day and it grabs dog hair. And it's not perfect, but it's a good start.
Yeah, it beats doing it yourself.
Right?
Yeah. Well, automation, right? Again, I keep bringing it back, but Overture, I don't think we talked about my range hood that's got the infrared sensor.
Oh my gosh, let's talk about this because we have a new range hood that came with our range, and Julie doesn't like it because it sounds like an aircraft taking off. Yeah. You know, it's just what it is.
I get it. I mean, it's a small space to move a lot of air. I get it.
I get it. This one shakes and rattles a little bit, but you know what I mean? It's one of those. Yeah. You have one that is nearly silent over there. You hear air moving, and it's automatic easy button.
Automatic, I think this automation thing is really where it's going. We want to take this off of your hands. You shouldn't have to worry about it. We talked about earlier. So this range hood has built into it an infrared sensor that'll sense the heat coming off your cooktop. Doesn't matter what you got, what kind of cooktop, gas, wood, I don't care. I don't know if you nuclear. Can you get nuclear range? I don't think that's a thing.
Yet.
Okay, all right. Not yet. I heard yet.
Wait. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Anyway, it'll sense the heat coming off and then say, all right, I'm going to turn on. And it'll turn on and ramp its fan speed up based on the amount of heat coming off. So if you're just making some scrambled eggs, it's not high. You're on low heat, right? You don't need it high. It'll only turn on to low. You won't hear it. It's so quiet on its low speed, you won't even know it's on. It'll ramp up to high when you need it, but at that point in time, you're probably banging pots and pans and stirring stuff anyway, so a little bit of noise probably isn't that big a deal. And then it turns back down. So you're not worried about it, right? And I think that's the issue that people have is like they turn it on to high, they're doing their stuff, and they walk away and they're setting the table and this thing is blaring in the background. Yeah. This thing will automatically ramp itself down and then turn off. You don't have to touch it. And I got a little daughter. She's only 18 months old now, year and a half. I'm going to say year and a half because I hate the whole month thing.
I know.
All right, year and a half. I'm going to have her cooking with me pretty soon. When she starts to cook with me, I don't want her reaching over the range, hot range, boiling water, whatever it is, to reach up and touch it. We think about people that are aging in place and that still want to cook, but aren't as stable. Or we work with a lot of veterans groups, and we build homes with Homes for Our Troops and the Gary Sinise Foundation. Shout out to both those guys.
Oh man, talk about amazing organizations.
They do such cool stuff.
Especially Sinise. Oh my gosh. That dude's a saint.
He's doing so much to get the word out. I love it. They do a ton of great PR work, a ton of work around that. Homes for Our Troops builds a ton of homes. They're
silent. They're
very little
very
overhead.
Quiet.
Very quiet. But man, both those organizations are just killing it.
Yeah.
We wanted to help them, so we're providing them with range hoods that are remote controlled or automated or whatever it is, so they don't have to touch it. We're giving them the Overture system, so they don't have to worry about anything. They don't have to remember. They got enough on their mind with medical stuff and raising a family.
Why not just make it the easy button?
Make it easy, yeah, exactly.
Dude, thank you guys for doing that.
Thanks.
That's a huge deal. That's something that we got to celebrate because I'd love to see companies stepping up for those things because that's what needs to happen out there.
Absolutely.
And, thank you
they
for
served
that.
us. We need to serve them whenever we can, so we're there. So
but talking range hood, that's why I didn't, as a kitchen designer 30 years, I didn't like using micro hoods.
Oh yeah.
Because to me they were a huge safety issue. One, they don't ventilate well.
Nope.
Even
if they do ventilate out, they don't cover enough of the range. You're missing the first two burners, which is the ones we use most often.
And there's no capture area to it because it's like it's just like this 8-inch part of the vent in there that's all you get, and there's no capture area to it. And they just don't work. And I have to lean across a hot stove to put something in. And if I'm carrying something like a bowl of soup, it's above my eyes many times for many people. I'm tall, but you're tall, but still bringing a hot liquid out of a top shelf of a cabinet isn't the smartest thing to be doing every day.
Not smart at all. No, I'm with you. How's that? You got a 48-inch range.
Yeah.
That's a pretty big microwave.
Oh, yeah. No. It's two of them. Just kidding.
No. It's a very good point.
Yeah.
I think about the range hoods you have now in people's homes, right? If you're looking at yours now, make sure it comes out far enough that it's going to capture, right? That's big. If it's not, consider getting a new one. Find something that does come out far enough to capture off the front, because there's a lot that escapes that you can't see. You can't see the things in air. That's the problem with indoor air quality. We can't see it. I can see if I have dirty water for the most part, right? I can't see it. Radon. We've got radon in our issue of the country.
Yeah,
it's really bad
as well too.
I have to have a system, so I had to have a guy come in and test it, right? That's one thing in your air.
Yeah.
And we know that it causes cancer and other things.
Clearly.
So do all the carcinogens that come off of our range when we're cooking, right? We know it, but we have to eat, we have to cook, so we're going to continue to do it. Make sure you ventilate. It's an equally horrible issue.
But it's easy to solve.
But it's so easy
But that's
to solve.
the thing. This isn't like, oh, I've got to change my lifestyle. I got to do this. It's not like your doctor going, hey, you got to quit eating steaks every week or whatever. This is, hey, I have a solution that's fairly easy. Someone can install it. And then it's just going to keep going and take care of itself.
Totally.
That's the beauty of that.
Yeah. And go and listen to the range hoods. Go to your local appliance dealer. I think that's an issue. We talked about the noise, right?
Yeah.
Go and listen. They should be able to turn them on for you.
Yeah.
And ask about it. How can I get a quieter range hood? What do I need to do to make it quieter? Maybe it doesn't need to run at full power all the time. That's why these automated hoods are so great, because it'll run what it needs to run, not whatever button you hit, unless you want it there. Like, go for it.
As a kitchen designer, I've seen a trend too, and I just want to mention this.
Yeah.
There are so many people out there that'll go and buy the offshore, like wood hoods with inserts.
Yeah.
But the problem is that fire code says that liner that is over that has to cover the cooking surface of the range.
Yes.
So if you have a 36-inch range, you can't put a 36-inch wood hood over it. You need to go bigger, because the inside has to be 36, not the outside.
That's a really good idea. Or if you're working with a designer, make sure you're asking them. They should know, but make sure you're asking them. Make sure that you're involved in that, because it is crucial to have good ventilation and to not have a fire in your kitchen.
Yeah.
And then
if you
clean your vents.
Yeah, clean your vent. Oh my gosh, right?
Anyway, sorry.
No. That's a great example. When was the last time you cleared the vent? Did you clean that up there? And people go, there's a filter.
You're supposed to clean
there?
it? Yeah.
I can't say how many people I built luxury kitchens for.
Yeah.
And I'd always like to go out a year later and see how things are going, do that kind of warranty with the contractor and stuff. And I'd go over to the range hood and I'd pop and take a look at it. I'm like, there's a little jar or something you got to clean out up there, right?
Yeah.
And they look at you in horror and go, What?
Yeah.
I know I told you this when we did this, but you had so much in your mind.
Yeah, you were looking at those beautiful counters. I
exactly.
Get it. Yeah.
But again, do that.
No, that's really smart. Most of our filters are dishwasher safe. So it's super easy, right? This isn't complicated. We're trying to make it super easy because we want people to use it. We really, truly believe that you'll have a better life. Our mission is better air, better life. We believe you will have a better life if you're taking care of your indoor air quality.
Amen. Now, we got to talk about your upgrades to range hoods, because there are millions of people out there that look up and go, okay, I got the Builder Basic range hood.
It's bath fan.
Bath fan, Sorry, thank you.
No, you're good.
Bath fan. And you look up there and go, okay, I know that's the Builder Special Broan that everyone's used.
It works for, it does what it
40
needs to.
years, right?
Yeah. Yep.
But they're not the quietest.
Nope.
They don't move the most air.
Nope.
And they're not really sexy.
And they're probably dirty. You probably have buildup of toilet paper fuzz and towel fuzz and God knows what else up there.
Yeah. When was the last time you cleaned that out?
You can clean it?
Yeah, right? See, that's the point.
That's the point, yeah. And so I'll start, yes, you can. You can actually replace them. We'll get to that in a second. But I will say, before you worry about it, the first thing people freak out about is, but it's really hard to pull down and get out of that slot. I know it is. It's horrible. We're working on a better solution for that. We got your backs. In the meantime, don't worry. You're not going to break it. If you do, I've got a solution. If you need to change it out, you want to change it out, or you broke it, I got a solution. So we have upgrades. You can get them at your local hardware store, Home Depot, Lowe's, Ace, Menards. It doesn't matter. We are at your do-it-bests, wherever it is, we're there. We've got upgrades that you can replace that and give it a light. Or give it a multicolor light, or give it a multicolor light and a Bluetooth speaker.
See?
Yeah.
And for the people out there, not everybody's handy like you and I that can go out and do that.
Right.
And maybe even that bathroom's got a 10-foot ceiling and you're like, hey, I am not comfortable doing that.
Yep.
And things are expensive out there right now in the world, and I understand that. And maybe you can't afford to have the professional come out and do it. Yeah. This is a great, I don't want to use the word Band-Aid, but it's going to get you an upgrade to get to the next level that you really kind of want to have.
Yeah.
But this will really help you take that next step
I think a lot
to
of
make
people
it better.
aren't using it because they don't like it. It's ugly. It's loud. We didn't talk about it, but we have a motor upgrade. We call it a quick kit upgrade.
Nice.
You can replace the actual motor, so it'll go from most people have a 50 CFM, just probably underpowered. That's what code was back in the day. We weren't thinking as well about ventilation, or houses were so leaky like yours and mine. It really didn't matter.
It didn't matter.
All right, exactly. But now we're thinking about it more, and you want proper ventilation. So get this upgrade motor, get this quick kit, and you can it's just a little plate that pops out. There's not even a screw. There's no you need a screwdriver only just to like bend a little metal tab, and that's it. And then it pops out. There's a little plug, a regular outlet plug, and you just pop a new one in, and now you've got a quieter fan. It'll have 80 CFM. It'll be like 30% quieter, right? It's so much better, right? And that's a simple thing. And I don't have to hire the contractor to come out. Those guys are great, but like they've got better things to do too. They want to help you make sure your whole home is working, not your little powder room, right? So this is an easy one that you can do. And then when you decide that you really want to do something cool, then call your guy up and say, hey, I want that bacteria killing fan.
Exactly.
I want that surface shield. Put that in my bathroom, please.
Absolutely. Or I want the one with the big Bluetooth and the color light show and all that stuff.
Or the Alexa one where you can yell at it to tell you the weather or play your podcast or order more shampoo, which
you can
I always
go,
forget.
Play around the house with Eric G on there, on your bathroom.
You're just going to miss the shampoo joke. Y'all can't see me.
I can't see that. Yep.
I don't have any hair.
Yeah.
Well, at least on my head.
You've got an epic beard, though, my friend.
Thank you. I appreciate
it. You got a great shampoo.
Yeah. I got to shampoo that. Yeah. So anyway, no, it's a great option. There's a ton out there. We even make the recess light, so we can put a light in that doesn't look like. I think we talked about that earlier. It doesn't look like a fan, right? Like there's a lot of options. Find something that works for you. Take a poke around. Visit our website, Broan-Nutone.com, Broan-Nutone.com. Take a look. There's some cool stuff. Give us a call. Give us a ring. I got a podcast coming out too that's going to talk just about indoor air quality. Come check that out. We'll have ideas for you.
Great. That's going to be great.
Yeah.
And you guys just have a great booth in here. I mean,
Thanks.
You explain so many different things in here and the visual of that.
Yeah.
And especially with fresh air systems, you have a lot to talk about here with that. And that's really one of the things I want people to really get out of this today is ventilation and dealing with that fresh air in your home, getting it in there and getting it where you can control it. Because I tell you what, that is the two of the biggest things we deal with out there.
Totally.
All right. We miss anything today, my friend?
No, that's it. Thanks for coming by. This is great.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah.
This is our annual event.
It is now, Let's keep it rolling. I love it.
Let's keep it going, and I'm looking forward to next year because every year you guys do something a little bit new, interesting, and I tell you what, it just keeps expanding. Last year, Overture was brand new.
Yeah.
And now let's talk about that for a second.
Okay.
You have that new outlet, right?
Yeah, so we've got a hardwired version of it that will now... that you can put in any place in your house. You can hardwire it in, and it'll sense for everything going on in your home. So put it in every room. Put it all over the place. Know what's going on in your home. And then, like I mentioned earlier, it's a best indoor product winner here.
Congrats.
Thanks.
That is awesome.
I appreciate
That's
it.
something to be proud of.
Yeah, we're super happy.
This is not just a little tiny show.
No,
this is
miles of show floor.
Yeah, I mean, there is literally miles of show floor here, and the biggest and the best are here.
Yeah.
And to take home, that's pretty epic.
That's the show. Yeah.
All right,
Love
brother.
it.
Thanks for coming on, Dave.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, I'm Eric G, and you've been listening to Around the House.
Somewhere unseen and undiscovered, anywhere beyond the mean. Life is a love song, let's be lovers. We're all over the radio. Take my hand, I know where to go. All over the radio with you.
Hey, it's Eric G from Around the House. Are you planning a decking or siding project this year? If you are, you've got to check out my friends at Millboard. Millboard is a completely different kind of composite decking and cladding that enhances outdoor spaces with enduring distinction. Hand-molded from the finest oak, it realistically mimics the natural grain and color of premium hardwood. If you're looking for something that doesn't look like plastic and instead real wood, check out millboard.com. Make sure and check out that interview we did just a few weeks back. That's millboard.com.